easiest way I've found to work with bounds is just draw a number line, put the number that you've got, so we're looking at x, put the number you've got in the middle, try and figure out what the next number down would be. So the next number down would be 1.1 if then rounded to the nearest one decimal place. What's the next number up? Well, it would be 1.3. So the next thing to ask yourself is, where's the cutoff point? What stopped it from being 1.1? Why did it round to 1.2? So the lowest it could be is halfway between those two numbers, which is 1.15. So that is our lowest bound, lower bound. The upper bound, the higher bound, would be here, which would be 1.25, but we're not asked for that. So 1.15 is the cutoff point. Now this is a slightly harder question in B because we're given this formula here. Now we've got to be careful when we're using formulas. We're looking for the upper bound of t. So we're looking for t to be as big as possible. Well, for t to be as big as possible, x needs to be as big as possible because we're adding it and we want a number to be big that we're adding. But the bigger y is, the smaller that fraction becomes. So we want actually y to be as small as possible. If you ever think about it, the fraction a half and the fraction a third, which is bigger? Well, a half is bigger. So the smaller the number at the bottom, the bigger the fraction. Anyway, a little bit of a side note, but that's really important that you remember that if there's a denominator that we want it as big as possible to make as small as possible number, or as small as possible in this situation to make the number as big as possible. So we need to find the upper bound for x and the lower bound for y. So using the diagram I drew earlier, 1.25 is the upper bound. Now you might say to yourself, well hang on, no, technically 1.25 would round to 1.3. Okay, let's delve into that a little bit. The actual answer should be 1.249 recurring, but there's two reasons I've not written that. The first reason is that it's a pain to work with. Typing that into the calculator would be a pain. The second thing is that actually 1.249 recurring is the same as 1.25. They are exactly the same number. Now if you don't believe me, a little bit of a side note, a third is 0.3 recurring, 2/3 is 0.6 recurring. Following the same pattern, 3/3 would be 0.9 recurring. But we know 3/3 is the same as 1. So 0.9 recurring is the same as 1. There is no difference, and that's very difficult to get your head around. Anyway, side note over. So the upper bound of x is 1.25. So we need to do a little number line to get the lower bound of y. So it's 4.6. So the next one down would be 4.5. So the cutoff point is going to be halfway, which is going to be 4.55. So that's going to be our lower bound, 4.55. So to find the upper bound of t, we need to do 1.25 plus 1 over 4.55. So let's just do that on the calculator. 1.25 plus fraction button 1 over 4.55. And I get the answer 1.46978 blah blah blah. It says it wants it to two decimal places, so it's going to be 1.47 because that 9 would round that 6 up.